The lonely girl in the refugee camp. The refugee camp floated above a quiet and broken moon, far from the main trade routes of the galaxy. Ships rarely came here. Those who did came to drop supplies, not to stay. It was a place full of sadness, hunger, and forgotten faces. Among the many tents and broken shelters there sat a small alien girl. Her skin was soft silver blue, her eyes glowing faintly purple in the dark. Her name was Lunari. Lunari was always alone. No one sat near her. Other refugees whispered behind her back. "She is from the cursed bloodline," one said. "No male will ever choose her," another laughed. Even her own kind left her to die. Every day Lunari sat quietly on a broken crate, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her dress was old and torn, her bare feet dirty from the rough floor. But her eyes still looked at the sky like she was waiting for something. Or someone. Then, one day a new ship landed. It was clean, strong, and clearly from Earth. A human man stepped out, tall, with tan skin and calm green eyes. His name was Draven, a former soldier now working for a peace aid group. He came with food, clean water, and supplies. Refugees rushed to him, begging for help, holding out empty bowls and broken tools. Draven didn't speak much. He listened. He handed out what he could. He moved through the camp slowly, and then he saw her. She was sitting still, her thin arms wrapped around herself, her head down. He walked toward her. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. Lunari didn't answer. She didn't look up. But Draven saw her hand tighten on her knee. A small shake ran through her shoulder. She was scared. "It's all right," he said. He placed a warm protein bar beside her. "You don't have to talk." He stood up to leave. That night, a tall alien merchant arrived at the camp. He was rich and cruel, wearing shiny robes. He looked around with greedy eyes. "I'm looking for a breeding female," the merchant said loudly. "Cheap. Doesn't have to be beautiful." People turned away. The merchant's eyes stopped at Lunari. "That one," he said. "I'll take her." "No one wants that girl," a guard said. "She's from the infertile bloodline." "Useless." The merchant laughed. "Then she'll be cheap." He walked over and grabbed Lunari's arm. She froze. Her eyes widened in fear. That's when Draven appeared again. "Let her go," he said calmly. The merchant turned. "Who are you, human? She's not yours." Draven didn't answer. He stepped closer. "She said no." "She didn't say anything," the merchant hissed. "She didn't have to," Draven replied, standing tall. "Back away." The merchant growled. But there was something in Draven's eyes. Something dangerous. The merchant backed off, muttering curses under his breath. Draven looked down at Lunari. She was shaking. "Come with me," he said gently. She didn't move. "I won't hurt you. I just want you to be safe." Slowly, Lunari stood up. He walked with her to his camp tent. It wasn't big, but it was clean. He gave her a blanket, water, and food. She sat in the corner, quiet, holding the food like it might disappear. "Eat," Draven said. "You need strength." Lunari took a small bite. Then another. She finished everything. After some time, she finally whispered, "Why?" Draven looked at her. "Why what? Why did you help me?" He thought for a moment. "Because no one else did." Lunari looked away. A tear rolled down her cheek. "No one ever helps me," she said. "They say I am broken." Draven sat near her, but not too close. "Maybe you're not the broken one. Maybe they are." Lunari looked at him then. Really looked. Her eyes searched his face. "You're different," she whispered. He smiled. "So are you." That night she fell asleep on the soft floor of the tent. Draven stayed awake, watching the door, his hand near his sidearm. He didn't know why, but he felt like protecting this girl was the most important thing he'd done in years, and far above the camp, deep in space. Someone else was watching too. A signal had been triggered the moment Lunari touched the human's hand earlier that day. A light blinked on a forgotten machine buried deep in an ancient station. Bloodline detected. Mating bond activated. Something old had awakened, and it had just begun. The unwanted bond. The sun over the refugee moon rose slowly, casting a dull orange light across the camp. Tents flapped in the cold wind, and alien children chased scraps of cloth like toys. But inside Draven's tent, the world felt still. Lunari opened her eyes, blinking at the soft ceiling above. She had not slept so peacefully in years. Her body was warm under the blanket. She turned slightly and saw Draven sitting nearby, wide, awake, leaning against the wall. "You didn't sleep?" she asked softly. He shook his head. "Old habit. Soldiers sleep light." She sat up slowly. "I'm not used to comfort." "You should be," he replied. "Everyone deserves safety." A strange silence followed, warm yet heavy. Draven stood up and handed her a bowl of warm food. She accepted it with both hands and nodded in thanks, but as her fingers brushed his, a strange light flashed, just for a second, between their palms. It was soft, blue, almost like a thread of energy, but it vanished quickly. Draven pulled back, his hand in confusion. "Did you see that?" Lunari's eyes went wide. She looked at her hand, then at him. "No. It can't be," she whispered, fear rising in her voice. "What?" he asked. Lunari stood up, trembling. "You touched me while I slept last night, didn't you?" "I only moved the blanket." "Why?" She stepped back, panic in her eyes. "In my culture, my species, a touch during sleep, if done with care, can awaken a dormant bond seal." Draven stared. "A what?" Lunari looked down. "It's an old genetic ritual. If a bond is triggered by touch and accepted by the body, it means—" "What does it mean?" "You're now my chosen mate." The words hung in the air like thunder. Draven blinked. "Wait, what? I didn't agree to that." "You didn't have to." "Neither did I." "It's not about choice," Lunari said, her voice cracking. "It's about destiny. Our genes decided." Draven turned away, running a hand through his short hair. "This can't be real." "It is," Lunari whispered. "I felt it the moment I woke. I just hoped I was wrong." Before he could respond, a loud alarm rang across the refugee camp. Sirens, shouting. A crowd rushed to the outer gate. Draven grabbed his weapon and rushed out with Lunari behind him. 2 giant ships hovered above the camp. Military class, unmarked, but powerful. From one of them, tall, armored beings stepped out, their faces hidden, their weapons glowing. One of the guards shouted, "They're from the gene collectors, they're here for experiments." A cold wave washed through the camp. Refugees hid. Some screamed. A robotic voice echoed from the ship's speaker. "We seek the bonded pair. Genetic signal has been detected. Deliver the chosen, or we will take her by force." Draven turned to Lunari. "Is this because of us?" She nodded, eyes full of fear. "When the bond activates, a signal is sent across ancient networks. My people's bloodline was once royal, pure, rare. Now, the last of it is in me." Draven gritted his teeth. "And now you're a target." "I always was," she said, "but now so are you." The soldiers began moving toward the camp. Draven grabbed Lunari's hand. "We're not staying here." "But where will we go?" "Anywhere they aren't." They escaped through a hidden tunnel under the medic tent. Draven knew about it, from past visits, made to hide medicine from corrupt warlords. Now it was their only way out. They crawled through the dirt tunnel for what felt like an hour. The air was dry and choking. Lunari's breaths were weak, but she pushed forward. At the other end, they emerged into the wild forest beyond the camp walls. Above, the enemy ships scanned the camp. Red searchlights swept across the ground. "They'll find us," Lunari said. "Not if we find a ship first," Draven answered. They ran for hours through the thick jungle until they reached a crashed scout vessel buried half in the mud. Draven checked it. Damaged, but the engines could be fixed. I need time to repair this, he said. As he worked, Lunari sat beside the glowing control panel. Her fingers touched a strange crystal on the wall. Suddenly, the ship lit up. Draven turned. What did you just do? I don't know, she said, confused. It responded to me, like it knows me. That ship's tech is ancient. Your people built this? She nodded slowly. We were once creators of ships like this, but after the war, everything was lost. Draven looked at her differently now. This wasn't just an orphan girl anymore. She was something bigger, something rare, something powerful, and now she was bonded to him. He swallowed hard. If they're after you, I won't let them take you. But why? She asked. You didn't choose this bond. Draven looked at her. Maybe I didn't, but now that it's there, I'm not walking away from you. Lunari's eyes shimmered. For the first time, a small, soft smile touched her lips, but above them the sky turned red. The enemy had found the camp, and they were scanning for the bond. Time was running out. Alien eyes and human hearts. Nightfall came fast on the wild jungle moon. Shadows moved like ghosts through the trees, and distant howls echoed across the hills. The forest was full of strange creatures, but tonight the real danger came from the sky. Draven worked under the dim glow of the scout ship's console. Sparks flew as he connected old wires and recharged the power cells. His hands moved quickly, but his mind was heavy with worry. Behind him, Lunari sat on a soft pile of fabric. She looked at her palms, still glowing faintly from the bond. Her fingers trembled. I never wanted this, she whispered. To be someone's mate. To be hunted. Draven didn't stop working. You didn't choose this. Neither did I. But we don't get to pick when destiny knocks. She looked up at him. His jaw was tight, his eyes focused. She could tell. He wasn't afraid for himself. He was afraid for her. You could leave me, she said quietly. Draven finally turned. What did you say? You could fly away. Alone. You'd be safe. He shook his head. You don't know me very well. I don't know anyone well, she admitted. I never had family or friends. Only looks of pity or disgust. Draven walked over and crouched in front of her. I don't pity you, Lunari. I see you. She blinked. See what? He reached up and gently touched the side of her face. Strength. Heart. Fire. You survived all this. Alone. That's not weakness. That's power. Her eyes shimmered. Her voice was soft. Then why does everyone call me broken? Draven's voice was calm but firm. Because they're afraid of what they don't understand. They stared at each other, human eyes, and alien eyes, so different. And yet, at that moment, deeply connected. Suddenly, the console behind them beeped sharply. Draven rushed over. Damn! They're close, he said. They've sent a drone patrol, scanning the area. How far? He pointed at the radar. Less than 10 kilometers. We have minutes. Lunari stood up. Then we need to fly. Now. Draven pulled a lever. The engines hummed, but didn't lift. Power is short. We can't reach orbit, we'll need to hide. He looked at the map. There's a cave system near the Crystal Valley. If we get there fast, we can shield ourselves from scans. They packed what they could and left the ship. The path was steep, full of rocks and strange plants that glowed in the dark. Halfway through, Lunari suddenly stumbled. Ah! She cried, falling to her knees. Draven turned fast. What is it? My ankle. She winced. I twisted it. He didn't hesitate. He lifted her into his arms. You don't have to, she began. I want to, he replied. As he carried her through the forest, something inside Lunari changed. For years, she had been alone, unwanted. But now, she felt warmth. Not from the bond, but from him. They reached the cave entrance just as red lights passed overhead. The drone swept the jungle but did not detect them. The cave was deep and full of strange glowing crystals. The walls pulsed with blue energy. "What is this place?" Draven asked. Lunari walked slowly, her fingers brushing the walls. "This is sacred. My people called these the hearts of the moon. It's where bonding rituals were once completed." Draven looked around. "Feels like the cave is alive." She nodded. "It reacts to emotional energy, to love, or pain." Suddenly, the cave walls glowed brighter around Lunari. Draven noticed. "What's happening?" She turned to him. "The cave senses the bond growing." Growing. She stepped closer to him. "Our bodies are connected, yes. But now, our feelings are too." Draven looked into her eyes. "And what do you feel?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Safe." For a moment they stood together in silence, surrounded by pulsing light. Then a roar echoed outside. Not drones. Something worse. Gene Collector's elite beasts, called track fiends, had landed. Massive creatures with 6 limbs, long tongues, and glowing red eyes. Born to hunt. They could smell genetic markers. The cave wouldn't hide them for long. Draven checked his weapon. "We need a plan." "There is a way," Lunari said. "What?" "We can complete the bond. If we do it willingly, the cave will protect us, shield us." Draven blinked. "Complete the bond?" She stepped close. "Not just touching. We must choose it. Speak it. With heart." Draven's voice was low. "This wasn't supposed to happen." "I know," Lunari whispered, "but maybe it's what we were meant for." He looked at her, saw her fear, and her courage. He nodded. Lunari placed both hands on his chest. Her voice echoed softly through the crystal walls. "I choose you, Draven. Not because of the bond, but because, when no one else saw me, you did." Draven placed his hand over hers. "And I choose you, Lunari, not because of fate, but because I want to walk this road with you." The cave glowed white-hot. The bond activated. Outside, the track fiends roared, then screamed. Their sensors melted. Their eyes burned. They collapsed. The cave had become a fortress. Draven pulled Lunari close. "You okay?" She looked up at him. Tears on her cheeks. "I'm not broken anymore." "No," he said. "You never were." But above the cave, high in orbit, a different ship had received the signal. A royal beacon had been activated. The girl was not just bonded. She was royalty. Hunted for her blood. Deep underground, inside the glowing heart of the moon cave, Lunari lay curled next to the ancient crystal wall. Her silver-blue skin shimmered softly, her breathing calm for the first time in days. Beside her, Draven kept watch. His pulse rifle rested in his lap, but his thoughts were not on enemies. They were on her. Everything had changed. One moment, he was just a former soldier delivering supplies. The next, he was bound, spiritually and genetically, to the last living daughter of a royal alien bloodline. And now they were being hunted. He stood up quietly, pacing near the cave mouth. The crystal had protected them from the track fiends, but it wouldn't protect them forever. Outside, scanners and drones were circling. He could feel it, smell the tension in the air. Suddenly, a sharp beeping came from his wristband. A hidden Earth signal, private military frequency. "Draven, this is Commander Tyron. We received your emergency ping. You're being tracked. Stand by for extraction." Draven sighed in relief, but Lunari stirred. She sat up, blinking. "What was that?" "Backup. From Earth." She looked worried. "Will they help us, or study me?" Draven paused. He didn't answer. Because deep down, he didn't know. 30 minutes later, a sleek, silent shuttle landed on the far side of the jungle clearing. No lights, no sounds, only the hiss of warm air as the doors opened. Draven and Lunari ran through the trees, keeping low. Inside the shuttle stood 3 armored humans, Earth soldiers, not ordinary ones, Gene Recon Squad. They saluted Draven but looked at Lunari with cold curiosity. "She's the target?" one soldier asked. "She's my partner," Draven corrected. The soldier scanned her. Heart pulse, blood temp, bond frequency. All match. She's real. Suddenly, Lunari stepped back. Her breath caught in her throat. From the shadows, another human stepped into the light. He wore no armor, just a long black coat, his face pale, his eyes sharp. Draven froze. No, it was Dr. Vortan, the head of Earth's Genetic Futures program. "Hello, Lunari," Vortan said with a cold smile. "You've caused quite the stir." Lunari trembled. "I know you. You were at the Orphan tests. You said I was unworthy," Vortan chuckled. "I was wrong. You're not unworthy. You're irreplaceable." Draven stepped between them. "She's not going with you." Vortan tilted his head. "I don't think you understand, Captain. The blood in her veins can solve interspecies infertility, cure genetic decay, unite empires. We need her." "She's not a thing," Draven growled. "She's a person." "I agree. And as a person, she's free to choose." Everyone turned to Lunari. Vortan asked softly, "Come with me. You'll be safe, fed, protected. You'll live in luxury." Draven said nothing. He just looked at her, trusted her. Lunari's voice was quiet. "And studied?" Vortan didn't deny it. "Of course." She looked at Draven. "And with you, I'll be hunted." He nodded. "Maybe forever." She stepped toward him. "I'd rather die free in your arms and then live locked in a golden cage." Without warning, Vortan snapped his fingers. The soldiers raised their weapons. Draven raised his rifle. "Don't. Stand down," Vortan ordered. "You'd start a war over one girl?" "I'd start a galaxy-wide fire," Draven replied. Suddenly, Lunari's body began to glow, blinding white light pulsing from her chest. The crystal bond was activating again. One of the soldiers fell to his knees. "What? What is that?" Lunari's voice echoed, deep and ancient, layered with a dozen tones. "Bloodline command accepted. Royal defense protocol activated." A shockwave burst from her body, pushing everyone except Draven back into the shuttle walls. Lunari stepped forward, eyes glowing like stars. "You will not take me," she said to Vortan. "My blood belongs to me, not your labs." The crystals in the cave pulsed in sync. Vortan stumbled backward. "She's not just bonded, she's the royal heir of House Kelverin," Lunari finished. "And you just threatened a queen." Outside, the storm cloud split apart. A massive alien ship, black and silver, shaped like a floating crown, descended from the sky. Its markings matched Lunari's glowing patterns. It was her people. They had returned. Moments later, Lunari stood at the edge of the landing ramp, looking back at Draven. "I don't want to leave you," she whispered. "You don't have to," he said. "I'm coming with you." "Even if it means becoming part of another world?" He took her hand. "You're already part of mine." Behind them, Earth soldiers stood frozen, confused, and Dr. Vortan, humiliated. But above them, new banners were rising. The heir had been found, and she had chosen a human. The truth in her DNA. The royal ship flew silently through deep space, faster than light, cloaked from all sensors. Inside its silver halls, Lunari walked like a ghost from her past. Everything around her belonged to a world she had been born for, but never raised in. Draven walked beside her, his eyes scanning every alien detail. The walls glowed with soft, blue lights. Floating drones hovered silently near the ceiling. Royal guards, tall with glowing armor, watched their every move. Lunari paused at a mirror. She stared at herself. The soft-skinned orphan from the refugee camp was gone. In her place stood a glowing figure in a silver gown. The royal crest burned faintly into her shoulder. Her silver-blue skin shimmered, her eyes no longer looked empty. She looked powerful. "I don't recognize myself," she whispered. Draven touched her hand gently. "I do. You're still the girl who offered me half her protein bar." She smiled. Just then, a door slid open. A figure stood there, Elder Mirian, an old alien with eyes like starlight and a voice deep as space. "Princess Lunari," he said, bowing his head. "The council is ready. They await your DNA awakening." Lunari swallowed. "I'm not ready." "You must be," Mirian replied. "The truth lies inside you. We cannot protect you unless we know what you truly are." In the royal chamber, Lunari stood inside a glowing ring of light. Ancient machines surrounded her, humming gently. Crystal nodes blinked in rhythm with her heartbeat. A female scientist stepped forward. "We will unlock the hidden strand, a piece of your DNA sealed long ago by your mother. Once activated, it will reveal your full bloodline memory." Lunari turned to Draven, who stood behind the glass wall. "What if I lose myself?" she asked softly. He pressed a hand to the glass. "Then I'll find you, no matter what." She nodded and stepped into the light. The machine began. Lines of glowing code rose around her like smoke. Her eyes turned white. Her body lifted 2 inches from the floor. Suddenly, visions flooded her mind. She saw a war, a great war between alien empires. Her people, the Kelverin, once ruled half the galaxy. Not with violence, but with fertility power. Their queens gave birth to strong, balanced children that united races. But one jealous empire, the Vothari, feared the Kelverin's gift. So they attacked, poisoned the royal bloodline, killed the last queen. Lunari's mother, pregnant with her, fled the capital. She hid her child in a backworld slum, sealed Lunari's royal genes with a genetic lock, and died before speaking her name. Lunari was never just an orphan. She was the last queen seed. Outside the chamber, the council gasped as the truth was revealed on the display. The scientist stepped back. Elder Mirian whispered, "It's her. The prophecy. It's real." Draven clenched his fists. "What prophecy?" A young councilwoman stepped forward. "A human would awaken the queen. Only one not of her bloodline could unlock the sealed DNA. A bond of choice, not politics." Draven's eyes widened. "I didn't just protect her," he said slowly. "I activated her." The chamber dimmed. Lunari fell to her knees inside the light ring. Her body shimmered with new strength. Strange glowing lines formed on her arms, chest, and neck like royal tattoos. Her heartbeat echoed through the room like drums. She looked up at Draven. Tears fell down her cheeks. "I remember everything now," she whispered. Later, in a quiet garden aboard the ship, Lunari sat with Draven. Stars drifted by the windows, like falling snow. "They killed my parents," she said. "Tried to erase my blood, but now I carry their strength." "And more," Draven said. "You carry choice." She leaned against him. "They'll come for me again. The Vothari. Earth's, labs, everyone. Then we prepare," he replied. "You're not alone anymore." Just then, Elder Mirian entered with a report. "Bad news," he said grimly. "A bounty has been placed on Lunari's DNA across 5 galaxies. The reward is high enough to hire full war fleets." Lunari stood, her eyes fierce now. "Then let them come," she said. "I won't run." "What will you do?" Mirian asked. "I will call the old allies, the forgotten clans, the mixed bloodlines. I will remind the galaxy that life comes from unity, not fear." She turned to Draven. "And I want you at my side. not just as protector, but as consort. Officially. Draven blinked. You mean? She took his hand. Will you lead with me? He smiled. You don't even have to ask. But far beyond the royal ship, in a dark corner of space, something ancient stirred. A figure in golden armor watched the royal DNA signal blink on his screen. So, the last queen awakens, he hissed. Let the hunt begin. The Marriage Treaty War. A bright star hung in the middle of the royal chamber's ceiling, holographic, but burning like truth. Around the glowing round table sat ambassadors from 12 alien species. Each wore their own style of armor, robes, or breathing gear. Some had sharp fangs, others flickering eyes, but all were gathered for one reason: the Blood Treaty Council. Princess Lunari, now recognized as heir of the Kelverin, stood tall in her ceremonial dress. The royal tattoos on her skin shimmered in, silver patterns pulsing softly with her heartbeat. On her left stood Elder Mirian. On her right, Draven, dressed now in formal black military gear, bearing the mark of royal human protector. But the air in the room was tense, heavy, dangerous. Tall, green-scaled ambassador from the Vashari Empire stood up. His voice was cold. You ask for alliance, Princess Brunon, but offer no royal match. Your blood can save entire races. Yet you've bonded with a human, a male of no lineage. Draven's jaw tightened. Lunari answered calmly. My bond was not political. It was sacred, ancient, chosen by blood and soul, the Vashari ambassador hissed. Then it was a mistake. You dishonor your ancestors. Another ambassador spoke, this one from the steel-plated Rothax tribes. His voice was robotic. Our planets suffer infertility. We demand a share in your bloodline, not one human's greed. Lunari stepped forward. I will share, but not my body, not my bond. My science, my healing genes, my help, yes, but my soul is not for sale. Suddenly, the Vathari delegate stood. His golden armor clanked like bones. Everyone went silent. My old ways demand royal sacrifice, he said slowly. To unite the galaxy, you must marry one of us. Choose an heir from the high houses. Lunari's eyes narrowed. And if I don't? He smiled. Then we withdraw support, and your people remain hunted, alone. Later, in her private chambers, Lunari sat in silence. The stars outside the window blinked like cold eyes. She could still hear their voices in her head. Marry one of us, break the bond, give up the human. Draven entered quietly. They're pushing you, he said, trying to break us. She didn't answer. I won't stop you, he added. If this is what you have to do. If giving me up means saving your people. Stop, she said sharply. He froze. She turned, her eyes full of pain. Don't make this harder. Draven stepped closer. Lunari, I didn't ask for this bond, but I chose it. You did too. That matters. They think I'm weak because of it, she whispered. They're wrong, he said. You're the strongest person I've ever met, but strength doesn't mean being alone. She leaned her forehead against his. I love you, Draven, but love may not be enough. Suddenly, a sharp sound came from the royal console. An emergency message. Elder Mirian appeared on the screen. Princess, urgent. One of the High House suitors has issued a formal claim challenge. You must respond, or they will declare war. Draven blinked. What does that mean? Mirian spoke solemnly. They demand your hand, or your blood. The only way to stop it is to fight for your bond. The next day, the battle chamber was prepared. Thousands of royals, nobles, soldiers, and leaders filled the giant dome. Floating cameras broadcast the event live across 15 star systems. At the center stood Draven, facing a giant armored alien named General Scarth, chosen champion of the Vathari. Scarth was 3 meters tall, his body covered in living metal. His fist could crush stone. He laughed as he stepped forward. This is the human, he scoffed. This is what you gave your future to? Lunari sat in the high royal seat, her face blank, but her fingers clenched tightly on the armrest. Draven looked at Scarth, unshaken. I didn't come here to die. I came here to protect her. The battle horn blew, and the war began. Draven fought like a storm. He moved fast, dodging, striking, rolling. Scarth's attacks were strong, brutal, but slow. Draven used speed and skill. His earth training showed this wasn't a man who relied on power. He used timing, intelligence, grit. Blow after blow, the crowd watched in silence. Then, Scarth landed a hit. Boom! Draven flew across the floor, blood dripping from his mouth. He struggled to stand. Stay down, human, Scarth growled. This isn't your war. Draven wiped his lip. It is now. He charged, leaping, sliding under the brute's guard, and drove his blade deep into Scarth's shoulder. The alien roared, another strike, this time to the neck. Scarth dropped to his knees, and then Draven placed his blade at the enemy's throat, but he didn't strike. I win, he said. But I don't need to kill you to prove my worth. He turned to the council. I didn't bond with Lunari for power, or blood, or science. I loved her when she was alone, weak, afraid. If you still doubt me, fight me again, but I won't give her up. Silence. Then, applause. Then, cheers. The high houses rose. Even the Rothaks bowed. And Lunari? She ran to the battle floor, threw her arms around Draven, kissed him in front of all. I choose him, she declared. Not because of the bond, but because he fought for my heart. But high above them, in a hidden satellite, a final transmission was sent. To an ancient enemy asleep for centuries, the message was simple. The Queen has chosen. Begin Phase 0. Send the harvest ships. The galaxy would not stay peaceful for long. Her mate, her hero, her forever. Stars outside the royal flagship glowed strangely. Some blinked in patterns not seen before, patterns that sent warnings through old Kelveran defense systems. Deep within the ship's command core, alarms began to sound. Lunari stood at the grand viewing platform, wearing her full royal armor for the first time. The silver suit was carved with her family's ancient symbol, a spiral sun wrapped in vines. Beside her, Draven wore upgraded human battle gear, sleek and black with blue lines of energy running along the chest and arms. Elder Mirian approached with a grim face. It has begun. The harvest ships are here. Draven turned. Who are they? The Nullborn, Mirian said quietly. Ancient enemies of life itself. They destroy all genetic diversity. To them, Lunari is not a queen. She is a target, a threat to their perfect emptiness. How many ships? Lunari asked. The hologram flickered to life. 12 massive harvesters shaped like giant bone spiders moving slowly across the stars toward Lunari's ship. Each was a city-sized engine of death. They're heading straight for us, Mirian said. They tracked the DNA signal from your awakening. Inside the command deck, chaos broke out. Tactical teams shouted positions. Royal guards loaded weapons. Scientists tried to encrypt Lunari's genetic codes, but it was too late. They want me, Lunari said. Not the people. If I leave, they might stop. Draven slammed his fist on the table. You're not surrendering. If I fight, people will die. He looked her in the eyes. And if you die, everything dies with you. You carry hope in your veins. Lunari's voice trembled. I'm scared. Draven stepped close, took her hand. I am too, but I'm here. Until the last breath. Suddenly, the ship shuddered. One of the Nullborn harvesters had fired a disruption pulse. Shields flickered. Light panels cracked. They've started the attack, a guard yelled. Draven looked at Lunari. We can't outrun them, but maybe we can outsmart them. In the lower decks, Lunari and Draven entered the ancient core, a hidden chamber built by her ancestors long lost until now. It glowed with old power. This is the heart link, Mirian explained. It connects you to the life web of your people. If you activate it, you can control every healing system, every shield, every ship connected to your bloodline. But it costs something, Lunari guessed. Mirian nodded. You will burn through your life force. It may shorten your days. Draven's fists clenched. There has to be another way. But Lunari stepped forward. No. This is my gift, my duty, my chance to save not just our bond, but the galaxy. She placed her hands on the heart link. White light exploded outward, through the ship, into the fleet, across every allied vessel. Shields flared brighter, weapons charged faster, wounds healed quicker. Across space, the fleet began to push back. Draven watched in awe. She's incredible. Meanwhile, the Nullborn Queen watched from her throne deep inside the lead harvester. Her body was twisted steel and dry bone, her voice like wind over a grave. Too much light, she hissed. Crush the source. She launched her final weapon, a spear of void matter sharp enough to pierce worlds. Back on the flagship, sensors screamed. Void spear incoming, someone yelled. Draven looked at the screen. It was aimed at Lunari. He didn't think. He just ran. In slow motion, he dove across the platform, wrapping Lunari in his arms just as the spear shattered the outer wall. The vacuum pulled hard. Metal flew. Light flared. The spear exploded in the air, deflected just enough by a pulse from Lunari's. Activated bond. They landed hard. Draven shielded her with his body. Everything went silent. Then, Draven, she whispered. He didn't move. Draven. Blood leaked from his side. His armor cracked. No, no, please, she cried, holding him close. His eyes opened slowly. Still here. Just tired. She placed her glowing hands on his wound. Light flowed into him, warm golden, and then he gasped. Eyes wide. Heart strong again. You healed me, he whispered. No, she said softly. We healed each other. In the final assault, with Lunari linked to the heart and Draven leading the defense, the combined fleet destroyed the Nullborn ships. One by one, the harvesters burned. The galaxy was safe. For now. 1 week later, the council gathered again. Lunari stepped forward, now wearing a crown made of living crystal. I will not rule alone, she said. This victory was not just mine. She reached for Draven's hand. This is my consort, my heart, my shield. Without him, I would still be in chains. The people cheered. Alien leaders rose from their seats, and the queen and her mate stood together, their bond now part of galactic legend. That night, on the viewing deck, Lunari leaned her head against Draven's shoulder. Do you think they'll leave us in peace now? She asked. He smiled. Probably not. She laughed. Good. I like when we fight, side by side. He kissed her temple. You were never alone, Lunari. Not from the moment I saw you on that crate. She smiled. My mate, my hero, my forever, and the stars burned brighter than ever before.